What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to your latest dose of transfer view. Although it should be your latest dose of transfer mess, your latest dose of Man United is a disgrace, your latest dose of what the hell is going on at this football club. What on earth is going on at this football club? Like, I went to bed quite early last night because I was just annoyed. Annoyed at what I got back from. Obviously, the fallout of the Martial situation, and thrown it away in the last 15 minutes. I was just annoyed. I was annoyed. So I went to sleep. I wake up, although it was not long after I went to bed, and you see that Martial has spoken out. Martial has spoken out after Ralph Rangnick said that he couldn't play, or he didn't play because he didn't want to. He didn't play because he didn't want to be in the squad. Otherwise, normally he would have been in the squad. And then Martial comes out with later on Instagram, I will never refuse to play a match for Man United. I've been here for 7 years and I never disrespected and will never disrespect the club and the fans. Now, do you know what? I'm not really interested in the chatty patty stuff in terms of who's lying, who's got it wrong. Because as soon as those comments, that's why when I saw that Ralph Rangnick even said that Martial didn't want to be in the squad anymore or didn't want to play or whatever, I didn't even have a reaction. One, because I didn't particularly care at that moment. I thought, whatever. Like, I'm more interested in the fact that we just thrown a game away in the last 15 minutes. And secondly, this is why sometimes you got to just fall back and let things develop and see what happens. See what happens, because the truth is, we don't know. The truth is, I don't know. The truth is, now we've got A and B. A saying B's lying and B saying A's lying. We will never know. So I don't really care. What I do care is, and which is that I tweeted earlier, which is the only fact we can take from this situation and others of what's going on at the football club right now is that we are an absolute disgrace. We're an absolute mess. That's all I know. We are done out here. That's all I do know. Let's just stick to the facts here. I could make this whole show about, well, Radnick shouldn't be throwing him under the bus, or if Martial's lying, he's a disgrace, he should never play, and this, that, and the other, and all these hypotheticals. Actually, hold on a minute. I'd rather just discuss the fact that we're a fucking joke. That's what I'm on talking about today. I don't really care, because the fact is, I weren't in the changing rooms. I'm not in the text messages or the emails or the conversations held between the players' agent and Ralph Rangnick. I don't know. It just seems a mess. Why is Ralph Rangnick going to come out after the game and say that and just lie on man like that? And at the same time, why the hell would Martial refuse to play and all of that, and then come out and say that he didn't? So either or, if both of them were lying in this case, they're a joke. But someone's got to be lying, because they're one saying one and one saying the other. That's why I'm not going to spend this whole show talking about that particular incident, and rather about the whole thing. Then the club put out a tweet saying Donny van der Beek has reached 50 appearances. Are you taking the piss? Are you taking the piss? He's reached 50 appearances. Read the room. Read the room. Do you know how much of a piss take that is? That even if you would have congratulated him in private, it's still a piss take. Even if someone at Man United sent Donny, I don't know what happens when you reach 50, when you reach 100, when you reach 150, 200. I don't know. But let's say that you get a case of wine or something, and you get a box of cigars with a picture of your debut or something shit like that. Even if they would have done that in private, yeah, and sent DHL, DPD, Yodel, Hermes, whoever, to go and deliver that to Donny's house, yeah, even that is a piss take. But what did they do? Put it on the main Twitter account that has over God knows how many million followers, and embarrass the guy. It's embarrassing. Absolute embarrassing. Then on top of that, there was reports that Ralph Rangnick's becoming increasingly frustrated because he thought he'd be able to change the team in the January transfer window, and that's looking increasingly unlikely. It's just absolute carnage. League Central. You look at players that were, even under Ollie, that were pissed off because they were promised game time, didn't get the game time. Players that were promised minutes didn't get the minutes. Players that were said they could let go didn't get let go. It's just what the fuck is this? What is going on at the club? It's almost like a circus. And now, in the aftermath of why we threw the game away in the last 15 minutes against Aston Villa yesterday, which actually, again, you try and calm down. There was actually positives yesterday. there was a few positives yesterday. Apart from the same old thing of the mentality, there was a few positives. But now instead of talking about how we can rebuild after that shit draw and last 15 minutes, last 20 minutes of performance that was poor, and how we can build on the first 70 odd minutes, instead of talking about that, instead of looking at the build up to Brentford on Wednesday, which again is going to be a tough game, now we've got Martial versus Rangnick. Like, what is this? What is this? How can a club be so big, be so poorly run on and off the pitch? You know, players not liking the criticism when the chips were down and coming out and saying stuff. Rashford's statement, Ronaldo coming out in interviews talking about mentality and all this bullshit. Maguire coming out and stating, actually reminding us that he's the captain and the standards and all of this. Fred coming out. It's carnage. They can't even get hold of the players. They can't even get hold of the players to say, listen, nobody put anything out on social media. I'm not saying it's not a free country. I'm not saying that, you know, you can't have your freedom of speech and stuff like that. But at a time when you just need to battle down the hatches, united against the world, you know what I mean? The fans are upset. The fans are pissed off. We're going to games. We're watching games all over the world and at stadiums and seeing us perform poorly. Yeah, that's what we're seeing week in, week out. We're still going to support the boys. It's a hard time right now. The players' confidence is rock bottom. It's on its ass. A new manager's trying to firefight. Doesn't know his best formation. Doesn't know his best players. Chopping and changing the team every 5 minutes. Yeah, you've got all of that going on. And at a time when you need to battle down the hatches and say, listen, everyone shut the F up and just let's try and deal with this internally and work through this as a team. But it's such a bad environment at Man United. The players are speaking out in dribs and drabs. It's the opposite of United. We should be called Man United apart. That's what we should be called. Man United apart. Man United apart. Manchester apart. That's what we should be called. Not Man United. Manchester apart. That's what we should be called because we're everything but United. We're everything but together. You know, players are going off if they're doing this if the players are doing this publicly in terms of how angry they are and, you know, going off on their own tangents and saying what they need to say. If they're doing that in public, God knows what it's like on the training ground. When we get all these dead ass pictures of, oh, I'm on the winning team, I won the 5-0s, I won the Rondo, I won the 4-on-4, doing all this bullshit. When you're getting them pictures, what's really going on? Is the club photographer saying, guys, it's that time of the training session again? I know it's been shit recently. I know it's been a shit session. But all smiles and peace signs so we can just put the winning team out and pretend that it's all rosy at Carrington because it's not. It's not. Stop feeding us this bullshit. We know it's not. Even just from if we come away from the pitch, which is always the biggest indication of the mood and the feeling amongst players, the feeling amongst, you know, how the group of players of how they're performing. If the performances are bad and you can see shoulders slacking, heads down and, you know, moaning on the pitch, that's a sign. That's usually a sign. And it's probably the most professional sign you can give because it's in the moment of playing. So arms up and accountability and pointing at each other and stuff like that. You kind of want to see a little bit of that because it shows that you care on the pitch. I know sometimes it can come across wrong, but you want to see a little bit of it. But what we're seeing is, but then on top of that, what you should see off the pitch is you shouldn't get a hint of that. If the club's run properly and the players are on board and everybody's falling in line and everyone respects the manager, the coaching staff, each other within the club of what's going on, everything else stays in-house. But this is where the human element comes into it. Hear this. This is where the human element comes into it because actually these players are bursting out their seams to have their say and bursting out the seams with frustration that they can't keep it in. They can't keep it in. They have to flock to social media to say, there's this lie being written about me. I'm putting that right. People are saying this. People are criticizing me about that. I'm going to let them know that I'm still the captain. I'm going to let them know that I want to play good. Then Ronaldo, everything that's going on, we'll put him in front of the cameras and let him expose everything. And I'm not necessarily saying what Ronaldo said was a bad thing. But again, it adds to exactly where we are at the moment. And a lot of the stuff Ronaldo said, if not everything, was completely correct. Questioning the bottle job mentality of these players and what's going on. But the way the club has run, how this Anthony Martial situation has been allowed to get to this, you know, to the point where, you know, and you could say it's bad management from Ralph Rangnick. I don't know. I don't know because do you just say he's injured? Do you just say he's picked up a knock? Don't get me wrong. Martial probably flocked to Instagram um, and say that he's not. I'm not injured. Remember, his wife was doing it. His wife did it. Anthony's not injured, or whatever it was. You know, like just have a line, stick to it, and tell the truth. If you're gonna come out and speak, tell the truth. And look, one of them, like I said, one of them's lying, and I don't really want to spend too much time on just those two individuals, Rangnick versus Martial. But you know, he said before in one of the other press conferences that Martial's just not in the squad. Like he's expressed that he wants to leave, he's not in the squad. Why not just say that again? I don't understand. I don't understand. And you just see the fallout for it. And I just we just deserve better, man. Like at a time when everything is so poor, everything is so shit. And you have to, and Martial's had to feel like he's had to come out and say that and put the record straight. That's how bad it is. So for him to do that, what kind of lie must it be? And let's not get it twisted. This is another thing of why when Ralph obviously said that he just didn't want to play. Well, he's taken absolute pelters. Absolute pelters. And I'm not here to do that whole I never said anything, so I'm in a good camp. Couldn't care less. The real reason why I didn't tweet anything or have an opinion out in public when Ralph Rangnick said that is because I was so angry at the performance, I didn't even care. And I literally just thought, I didn't think one thing or the other. I didn't think, that's a bit suspect. I bet Rangnick's lying. And I never thought, Martial, you absolute disgrace. How can you do that? I thought, we've had to hear now a player don't want to play for us. It just adds to the mess. It adds to the chaos. Was it deflecting? I don't know. It does. It does. If I do talk about it a little bit, it does seem so weird that Ralph Rangnick would say that, and it's a complete lie. Now it seems weird that Martial did do the things that Rangnick said he did, which is refuse to play, and then come out and say, "What are you doing? Why are you lying?" They both don't make sense. And when two things don't make sense, I'll just stay out of it. I'd rather deal with the only thing that is a fact, and that is our club is an absolute disgrace. And I don't know where we go from here. People were saying I'm the one who feels like an idiot. People were saying to me yesterday, write the season off, Flex. Write the season off, they were saying to me. Forget top four, and write the season off. And I was reluctant to kind of go into that and accept that. But if you look at the table, right, where are we? We're 7th with 32 points. West Ham got 37 points and a game in hand. Look, 5 points behind. It's not the end of the world, but the games are running hell. Win your game in hand, all right, might be go down to 2 points, but the way that we're playing, I can see why people are like, forget it. You need Arsenal to slip up. You need West Ham to start slipping up. You need Tottenham to continue being how they're doing. And Tottenham have got 2 games in hand over us. So, at the end of the day, I can see why then people are saying, forget about it. And then you have to just look at what's going on at the club. How can we seriously focus on getting in top 4 and playing big important matches when, one, back to what happened yesterday away from the carnage, with bottle jobs on the pitch, absolute bottle jobs, couldn't see out 15, 20 minutes of a game at 2-0 up. And 2, look at the environment in which these players are having to operate in. It's toxic, absolute toxic at the highest point. So I've had enough, honestly. I honestly do not know where to go from it. The boys are going to be talking about it later on the full view. And there you have it. I just wanted to. We had to talk about it because it's a state. It's an absolute state, and it's embarrassing. And airing our dirty laundry in public for the whole world to see. Big Man United, big Man United. And like I said, that Donny van de Beek thing just absolutely topped it off for me. Well done for 50 appearances. Fuck me. Is that what we're really doing? Well done, Donny. You played 50 times for Man United, and 40 of those were as subs, and none of them were 90 minutes. And I don't know, you were subbed off this many times, or who cares, man? Who cares? How much does them 50 appearances even equate to in minutes played? I'd love to know. Someone put it in the comments. I know one of you guys got the stats thing going. I'd love to know. How many of them 50, how much of that 50 appearances, what does it equate to in minutes? Because it can't be a lot. Taking the absolute piss. Taking the piss out of Donny, taking the piss out of us. Everyone's just getting taken the piss out of. Got me swearing up on a holy day, Sunday. Honestly. Anyway, guys, smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new. We'll be back later on tonight, 6 p.m. with a full view as well. Where I'm sure there's going to be more fallout, more news to report. And the boys are going to have their say. Absolute mess. I don't know what to say. On Sunday, early, you wanna come with a little bit of positivity or a little bit of something to build on after the shit show of last night. In a game that actually, like I said, had a lot of positives, but finished in that awful way. And then you get this next day. It's just bullshit, absolute bullshit. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.